Well, usually when I talk about new cars, I don't really talk about their looks because looks are a matter of subjective opinion. But when it comes to the all-new 2017 Hyundai Xcent, I will tell you that this car looks a lot more upmarket and a lot more cooler than the earlier car that it replaces. And how is that? Well, I'll let the visuals do the talking. But this car isn't just about the looks, it's also been changed from the inside as well as with the driving experience. So what are those changes about and what is this new car all about? We'll find out on the show today. Hyundai has given it a much more prominent grille up front, which now looks a lot more posh and upmarket than before. You also get an entirely new housing for the fog lamps. These changes on the front give it a much more different look than the Grand i10, which was also updated recently. But the bigger changes have been reserved for the rear, and the car now gets a much longer tail lamp cluster, which replaces the boxy look of the older car. Overall, these minor updates make the Xcent look a lot more balanced and a lot more proportionate than before, and give the car a very upmarket and cool urban look. Well, so talking about the rear lamp design, we'll also have a look at the boot. And as you can see, it has a very wide opening. The aperture is really nice and big, which means you can really shove in those big boxes without any issue. It's an easy boot to load up, and the best part about the boot is that it is over 400 liters. It is officially 407 liters, which is much bigger and much better than all its rivals, including the Honda Amaze as well as the Ford Aspire. There's only one car which is slightly bigger than this, and that is the all-new Tata Tigor, which at 419 trumps this by about 12 liters. But for sheer luggage carrying capacity, this boot is more than enough for all your highway trips. Well, the Hyundai Xcent has always had one of the better cabins in this segment, and it's no different with the updated car. The perceived quality levels are very good. You get very good materials used for the switchgear as well as for the seat fabric, and overall build quality is top-notch as well. Well, Hyundai cars have always been known for their rich features list, but the company was falling slightly behind some of their rivals in that department. But with the new Xcent, they have updated it quite nicely. So now you get this huge touchscreen, which also gets Apple's CarPlay system as well as Android Auto, which means that you can simply connect your mobile phone to it, and the system over here will mimic or mirror whatever's happening on your phone. So you can directly make calls and take calls and use the apps from this screen rather than going onto your phone and using them. Apart from that, you also get automatic climate control, and you also get 1 GB of storage space over here on this stereo system. But that's not all. You also get a cool glove box, which means that on those long highway trips, you can keep your beverages cold. Well, in terms of practicality, it's a good place to be in. You get a huge tray below the AC controls where you can keep your sunglasses as well as your wallet. And of course, you also get a cover over here so you can keep it away from prying eyes. And you also get 2 bottle holders over here just behind the gear lever. But the best place, of course, to keep these bottles is in the large door bins. And is there any negative inside the Xcent's cabin? Well, yes, the seats are slightly on the softer side, so the support for the lower back isn't as good as some of its rivals, and maybe a little more padding and a little more cushioning could have been done by Hyundai. But I am nitpicking at the moment. These seats are decent in terms of comfort, but yes, a little more cushioning would have gone a long way in making them excellent for those long journeys. Well, so if you are going to be spending a lot of time in the Xcent's rear seat, you will really enjoy this armrest over here, which also has a couple of cup holders over here, and you can keep a small beverage or even your wallet or cell phone over here and sit like the boss. But of course, if you have other occupants to sit over here, you can fold away this little armrest. Well, now the Xcent is a generous car in terms of its width at the back. It's not the widest car, but it is quite okay in terms of accommodating 3 at the back. So if you are someone who travels with 3 passengers on a regular basis, then this car should be quite okay. And that's also largely because you get a very flattish floor panel, so whoever sitting here will have plenty of place to keep his feet. You also get your own AC vent at the back. Now the throw of air from these vents is just about okay. It's not the best, but even then it does manage to help in cooling the occupants at the back slightly. Well, you also get a 12-volt socket, which means that if you are a millennial and are perennially on your mobile phone or your tablet, then you will always need to charge it, and this socket takes care of that. Now these seats are decent in terms of space as well. As you can see, knee room is more than adequate, and I have adjusted the front seat for my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10". Headroom also is more than adequate. Even for 6-footers, this car should not be a problem in the back. And you also get large size windows over here, which means that you won't be feeling claustrophobic, because this car's cabin does feel nice and bright and airy. So overall, a decent place to be in the backseat of the Hyundai Xcent. Well, Hyundai CRDI engines have always been excellent in terms of refinement, and it's no different with this new 1.2-litre engine. Yes, just like the Grand i10, Hyundai has updated the diesel version of this car and has replaced the earlier 1.1 unit with the 1.2-litre unit, and this engine now makes about 75 bhp of power. What is instantly recognizable is the fact that this engine simply feels a lot more flexible than the earlier engine, and you won't really have to changing gears as often as you changed in the earlier 1.1-litre engine, and that's largely because this engine seems to rev a little longer now. It revs all the way up to 5000 rpm without too many issues. Well, this diesel engine needs to be revved to about 2000 rpm to get the best juice out of it, which is quite okay, and which is really the norm in this segment from all diesel engines. Well, even when you rev this engine hard, it doesn't really tend to become too boomy inside the cabin. It remains rather nice and sedated, and even though there is a bit of a hum, it really does sound like a very distant hum rather than a close clatter inside the cabin. So in that sense, Hyundai has done a good job in the isolation of the cabin from the outside. Well, the best point about this diesel engine is its excellent clutch. It's really a very light clutch. It's a very linear clutch in terms of its operation, and in fact, if you are someone who's driving this car for the first time, you will be forgiven for mistaking it for a petrol car. Yes, the clutch is so light that you will think that I am driving a petrol car by mistake, and even the gearbox on this car is a very light and very crisp unit at that, and the gear changing is really a treat on the Xcent rather than a big chore, and really makes this car a nice and easy car for driving around the city. Well, the suspension setup on this car is exactly the same as the earlier car was, and the soft setup means that those badly patched up roads in the city are taken care of. Well, so most other car reviews will tell you that the steering wheel on the Hyundai Xcent is very light and does not feel sporty and does not have the sense of engagement that some of its rivals offer, and even though that might be true to a certain extent, but do remember that most buyers don't care about sporty steering wheels as well as communication from the steering wheel, because buyers in this segment buy these cars for their sheer peace of mind and the ease of driving that these cars offer, and in that sense the Xcent really is excellent. It's a very light steering wheel, which means that you can simply use it with your little finger and maneuver this car around. Of course, that's something we don't recommend, but the best part about a light steering wheel is the fact that you can easily find a tight parking space below your society without too many issues, and you won't have to be putting too much of an effort into it. The other good point is that you can maneuver this car around city traffic without too many issues, and even on the highway, when you take this car out on the open road, you won't be left feeling tired after the end of a long journey, because you won't be needing to put in too much effort into the steering wheel all the time. It really is a very light and very nice unit. The ride quality also is pretty sorted. Yes, high-speed ride is pretty decent. It's not in the same league as, say, maybe a VW Ameo. Well, there's also a 1.2-litre petrol motor you can choose, and that engine is also excellent in terms of refinement. Just like the diesel engine, it does need a few revs to get going. When it is towards the lower end of its rev range, it does not feel as exciting or as thrilling to drive as some of its rivals. So it's not an ultra responsive unit like some of its rivals in this segment. But that said, when you rev it hard, it remains largely refined, and that is its big USP. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this 1.2-litre diesel engine delivers over 25 kpl, which really is now the norm in this segment rather than the exception. So that also means that the Xcent will offer you low running costs in the long run, and that with this huge features list means that the Xcent is a really formidable package in the entry sedan segment. Well, so the 2017 Hyundai Xcent makes a strong case for itself and really is a very formidable product. And if you're in the market for an entry-level sedan, then you should definitely shortlist this and check it out at a Hyundai dealership near you. Well, this car definitely has our stamp of approval. But if you're not as convinced about this car as I am, you should also check out our comparison review of the VW Ameo as well as the Maruti Suzuki Swift Dzire by clicking over here. And if you're in the market for an all-new car and want to know about its test drive review, follow us and subscribe to our channel by clicking on top. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.